What up, YouTube? It's your boy Malt Frazier in the building. And y'all know we got to talk about last night. Alabama versus Tennessee in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. T-Town, Titletown, whatever you want to call it, baby. And, this was just the next stop on our revenge tour. We had Vanderbilt a couple weeks ago, Tennessee this week, and it was sweet revenge. Now, they say revenge is a dish that is best served cold. And I couldn't agree more, because obviously we wanted to get our get back from last year. We want to beat Tennessee every year, and we damn near do. Don't let a couple of these games the last few years fool you. We done dominated this series for the last 2 decades, no question about it. But it wasn't just about winning the game. One thing I really gained so much joy in last night was just seeing the agony of the Tennessee fans and their team. I mean, just we beat them. I mean, and you could see it in their face, just straight defeat. They were done. They didn't know what to do. The fans are searching for answers. Why didn't we do this? Why didn't we run the ball? The team is looking around like, man, I thought we were better than this. I thought we had a chance today. And just snatching that from them. Oh my goodness, just so much joy. Now you might say, Malt, you being petty, but you know what? That's what rivalries are for. It's all right to be a little boastful about this one. It's all right to talk our talk. That's what we get to do for the next 365 until they get a chance to do something about it again. So we thoroughly enjoyed whooping that ass. You know what I'm saying? So, it was beautiful to see. And in particular, when I talk about seeing that agony, I mean, there was quite nothing like the sequence right before halftime. Alabama is up 16-7. Tennessee's driving down the field to get the ball all the way down to the 1 yard line. Now they got a chance to make this 16-14 going into the half or 16-10. Either way, it's a one-score game. And not only do they not, you know, put a dent in the deficit, they gave us the opportunity to score. Shout out to Xavier Brown getting the 99-yard interception, taking it all the way back to the crib. And we go into halftime 23-7. And, at that point, I thought Tennessee was going to be mentally checked out. They just, they didn't look like they wanted to be there after that. Now, that being said, they didn't lay down. They came to play in the second half. And, we had to put the game away. But that sequence was just so joyful. Great moment in Bryant-Denny Stadium. So, let's go ahead and jump into it. Oh, and we sparked the cigars up early last night. We had about 7 minutes left in the game, before the fans started sparking the cigars up, smoking 'em if you got them, baby. Now, obviously, a lot of emotion coming into this game just because, what happened last year. Like, of all our losses from last season, the Tennessee one was probably the one where you feel like that one got away. Like, that was a winnable game. It wasn't Milroe's best game last year or the offense in general, but, that was one where it's like, man, we left something out there. We could have did something about that. Whereas the other ones, it was kind of like, man, the team didn't seem prepared enough last year. They were getting confused, weren't playing fast and confident, right? But the Tennessee game last year, it was kind of like, dude, we could have had that one. So obviously, emotions are probably pretty high last night, and but that didn't affect our start. We got off to our signature hot start. The defense gave us a 3-and-out to start the game, which was going to be important. Tennessee's best bet for a win last night was to make this a high-scoring game and try to beat us late. Just piling up the points. Defense came out really strong, and the offense got off to a hot start as well. We went 11 plays, our first possession, and we put the ball in the end zone. Last week against Missouri, we struggled finishing drives a little bit, so that was great to see, starting out the game with a score. Tennessee did get a rhythm as the game went on. They responded, and they tied the game up early 7-7. But, then our defense really kind of dug in for a little while there. Yanze Pierre, number 42, awesome game. I mean, he's cut from some good cloth for sure because, obviously his uncle is Courtney Upshaw, Alabama legend. And, he's following right in his footsteps right about now. It looked like Courtney Upshaw out there, the way he was, generating pressure and really just making an impact on the game. He had 2 sacks and he forced a safety. And the safety really was a momentum changer, right? We got a tie game, 7-7. The offense has had some success, and we've had to, punt back to Tennessee a few times. But, we get that safety. It's 9-7, and then we get the ball back and go down and score and we make it a 16-7 game, and it's a different ball game after that, right? Like, we're feeling good about ourselves. Coach DeBoer said he feels like the team, plays better when they're feeling confident. And that's obviously not a, breaking news or anything. Like, who doesn't feel better when they're feeling confident? But, you have to create those moments to be confident, right? You have to have success and put guys in the right situation for them to build that confidence. And so we did a really great job of that. And that sustained us throughout the game. Um, and, look, we got to talk about, how about welcome back Ryan Williams? Ryan Williams looked fantastic yesterday. 5 catches for 87 yards. But it wasn't, about the amount of catches or the yards. I mean, he made big plays, and we need that from him. Explosive plays, 20-plus yard plays. And these are difficult catches. Ryan Williams, I've been critical of his drops this year, as many people have. And, some of the catches he made yesterday, these are acrobatic. The ball's kind of behind him, can't get a great angle on the ball, and he's still coming down and making great catches. And, he had to dive for a couple passes, right? So, really showed off his ability as a receiver last night. And I still think he's battling, that hamstring injury. So, hopefully as the year continues to progress, we'll continue to see him, become more explosive like we're used to seeing. But, man, Ryan Williams was fantastic last night and a huge reason why we were able to, have the success we had on offense. Now, the sequence before halftime was huge. We talked about it a little bit. Xavier Brown, that's just a tremendous play. That's some real playmaker ability to, not only stop Tennessee from getting in the end zone, but getting an interception. And then, you run back, about 70 yards, and there's about one player to beat. And, if he gets tackled, we go into the half 16-7. If he breaks the tackle, we're going up 23-7. And he broke the tackle, got in the end zone. So, giving us a 2-touchdown lead and then getting the ball back for the second half was huge. But, it really just, that whole drive, because it was a taxing drive. Like, Tennessee had gone down the field maybe 13 plays or so, and we don't really want our defense to be on the field that long. When we weren't getting pressure, we were a little bit at Tennessee's wheel at times defensively. But I never gave up on any drive defensively. For some reason, the Trayvon Diggs play from 2019 where he recovered a fumble and returned it for 100 yards, it was just in my mind today. Maybe it was because, it's the Tennessee rivalry. He did that in a home game, right, just like we had last night. And so I just always felt like, man, we can get a stop, we can get a turnover. And the identity of this team is to really, or the defense rather, is to force turnovers. In order for us to be an elite defense, we got to force turnovers. That's just a part of our recipe for success. So can't overstate that, how big that was in the game. Especially since, we came out in the third quarter, we get the ball, and we really got an opportunity to, put our foot on Tennessee's neck here if we go down and put together a scoring drive. Offense really was stagnant a lot in the beginning of the second half, and so we kept Tennessee around, and that sequence right before halftime became even bigger because of that. Now in the second half, one of the bigger issues I had was really Tennessee kind of kept the momentum that they had driving down the field. Even though they didn't get points that last drive of the first half, they went 13 to 15 plays or so down the field, and their next couple drives, they had really long drives. And we really just didn't have any answers. The beginning of the game, we were getting some pressure with Yanze Pierre and a few other guys. But once, the pressure stalled, Tennessee was just doing what they want. And the run game, we have got to find answers to the run game. Obviously, this team has been known for giving up some explosive runs throughout the year here and there. But last night, it wasn't just the explosive runs, because Tennessee was consistently getting 5-6 yards of carry, and their running back played really well. But, we just can't allow them to just have an automatic 2nd and 4, second and 5, whatever, because they had a lot of advantageous 3rd down, 4th down opportunities. And we got to clean that up as well, too. We're in a position to get off the field. We got to take advantage of that. Tennessee was 4 for 4 on 4th down conversions. If we can take that 4 for 4 and make it a 2 for 4, we're talking about a completely different ball game in the second half. A lot less pressure. Like, the game started getting a little tense in the third quarter because our offense was so stagnant. Tennessee had momentum. They had scored a touchdown through an explosive run. So when we got the game 23-13, it's like, yo, let's put this thing away. And part of the reason turnovers are so important for our defense is because we, struggle stopping the run at times, not all the time, but, we've shown that it can be a vulnerability at times. And so, we're getting teams when teams are marching down into the red zone, and now it's like, all right, let's get a fumble, let's get a turnover here. It's great to have the ability to do so, but I'd rather not always need that, right? Like let's shut them down on fourth down. Let's get off the field. So that's something I hope we continue to work on as the year progresses. And then probably my favorite sequence of the game: forced Tennessee to punt, and they down the ball on our 1 yard line. Now at this point in the game, we're up 23-13, but the offense has stalled in a major way in the third quarter. The run game has zero pulse. I mean, we weren't able to get Jan Miller going at all yesterday, and it really started from the beginning of the game. Geno Vandermark, one of our first run plays, I mean, he gets completely mauled into the backfield, gives Jan Miller no chance. And so now being backed up on our 1 yard line, we don't want to give Tennessee the ball back in good field position because they're starting to roll a little bit. And really, we need to put up some points so we can put this game away. And so there's a lot of pressure to get some done here, to get some points, but really just get the ball out of a dangerous spot on the field, right? Like we need to get 20, 30 yards here if we're going to punt so that Tennessee's not, falling into a golden opportunity. And so I just thought, man, as soon as that ball landed on the 1, I'm like, man, this is a character drive right here. This is where we show up. This is where, the true character of this team shows out. That's what we've seen all year. When the going gets tough, we get going. And it's really been the name of the game. And it was no different last night. We got the ball out. First play, Ryan Williams get some yards. Jeremy Bernard really came alive that drive. Latier Brooks, made some plays. And then, shout out to Daniel Hill, man. I mean, he really added a whole lot to the offense in general yesterday, but did a really good job running the football. He was physical, got downhill really fast, and he got guys making business decisions. Daniel Hill is 6'1", 240, maybe 250 running back, and it takes about 2 or 3 guys to get him on the ground. And, you get up on that second level and you got, corners and safeties trying to tackle you. They not showing up with a lot of enthusiasm to tackle Daniel Hill. And he really added a big spark to our offense and ultimately really helped us, close the game out. And hopefully we see a lot more of Daniel Hill just because I think he adds something different to the offense. We don't have any other back with that type of size and physicality and athleticism. I mean, he really did a good job of finishing his runs, and he was really good in pass pro. Typically when you got a good running back that maybe he's not playing a lot, is because he's struggling in pass protection. And so maybe that was something that took Daniel Hill a little longer to kind of pick up on, but, he looked like he was rocking and rolling yesterday. So I look forward to seeing a lot more Daniel Hill carries, especially as we get into the fall months. It's going to get colder, you know what I'm saying? In some places, it might be a little harder to throw the ball, and you're going to need a run game that you can depend on. We're going to need to be able to, really milk the clock and get out of games that are tight. So there's really a big place for Daniel Hill in our offense, I believe, moving forward. And so we capped off that drive, 99 yards, and we put that game away. Got up 3 scores there, and from there we were on our way home. Smoke them if you got them, baby. It was time to light up the cigars and get the celebration started early. So, that was beautiful. Great win last night. And look, as we take a look at the big picture scenario for college football, we're the hottest team in the sport right now. And there's not a single team that I would trade places with today. I like Alabama against anybody. I don't care if it's Ohio State, Indiana and Texas A&M are undefeated. I'm not as big on them as maybe, the general public is. But, I look at us and I say we're battle tested, right? Like we've had to deal with adversity, obviously coming off a loss in week 1. But not just that, right? We've dealt with adversity in a bunch of different games, being on the road at Georgia, at Missouri, having to deal with, the high that comes from getting a win in Athens and then playing a team in Vanderbilt that, kicked your butt the previous year and you got to get up for that game. And we've had to do that for about 4 straight weeks. We've beaten a ranked opponent 4 consecutive weeks. Nobody in the country has done that. when it comes to quarterback play, haven't seen a quarterback in the country on Ty Simpson's level yet. So, I'll take my quarterback over anybody. And I think we're only going to keep getting better. Like, there's a lot of room for improvement for our team still, even at 6-1. And, with these other teams, like in Ohio State, to me, they're kind of just sleepwalking through the season. Nobody that they have played has really given them a challenge. So in a lot of ways, to me, I still think they don't have their identity all the way together, because you don't know how your team is going to respond in certain situations, or how are they going to play from behind. They haven't seen that yet. Julian Sand hasn't been, under a whole bunch of pressure where he's uncomfortable. How is he going to respond to getting popped in the mouth? And so I look at it, Indiana, yeah, they got a great win against Oregon, but, I still don't trust it. And then you have Miami just went down, right? And I'm not saying just because you lost, you get rolled off, because a lot of these teams are still going to be playoff teams and have a chance to win national championship. But I like us over anybody. We have played the toughest schedule in the country, in my opinion, and we've risen to the occasion. So, I trust this team in any circumstance. I really can say that. I don't care if we, are down. I don't care if we got to play with the lead. I don't care if, we get off to a hot start and then things get a little stagnant. We have seen it all so far, and more so than any other of our competitors. So, it's looking good for us, but we got to keep the pedal to the metal. We can't forget what got us here. It's taking each opponent seriously 1 week at a time. And we got South Carolina next. Everybody's going to be, pumping a whole bunch of sunshine about Bama, talking about we're, maybe the best team in the country, how we're going to walk over South Carolina. We can't listen to none of that. We got to go in there and show our opponent respect and handle business. So, love this team. Love what I saw last night. Great revenge, baby. Roll Tide. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about the game in the comment section. And y'all enjoy y'all NFL Sunday. Malt Frazier out. Peace.